Welcome back, everybody, to Rantpocalypse Talks Fear the Walking Dead. I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Kelly, and if you don't know this by now, we're actually related.
We are related.
He's my
You're...
dad. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
the mom. He's the son.
Yes, I
I
am.
just thought I'd see if I could get away with it.
Yeah, that would be creepy
If
and
if
weird.
my, why would that be weird?
If I was your dad,
Well, I mean, it would
I'd
be
look,
weird.
I'd look
I'm.
really good. I'd be a damn good-looking
Oh, I
dad.
thought
I
you.
don't know. I mean,
Sorry.
maybe you had maybe you were hanging out with Nick or something, if I was your dad.
I don't know.
Living on the streets.
Yeah.
Just kidding. You look beautiful. You look
Okay.
glorious.
Whatever.
You look wonderful.
We're not friends
You're
anymore.
lovely, Mom. We are here to discuss Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 11, entitled Pablo y Jessica. And in this episode, Alicia and Madison try to bring two competing factions together, and Nick uses his skills from his past for his new role.
Yeah, which seems to come up in every episode now.
Yes. Let's get into our top moments from the episode, starting with number 3, and that is Nick using his old skills, cutting up the drugs in this episode. It was very cool because for us, we are huge Breaking Bad fans, and there's this whole thing with, is The Walking Dead a prequel? No, is Breaking Bad a prequel to The
Yes.
Walking Dead? And there's all these little Easter eggs that has been thrown into the Walking Dead TV show. The Dodge Charger that was
Yeah.
used in Breaking Bad, that was Walt's car. Well, that was the same exact car that Glenn drove whenever he was driving out of Atlanta, and he was going buck wild and he was having
hmm
lots of fun.
As the
That's...
alarm was going
Yeah,
off the whole
yes,
time.
exactly. Daryl explained that Merle has a drug dealer who sounds incredibly similar to one Jesse Pinkman, because Daryl says Merle had this dealer, this janky little white guy. He says, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch." That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah.
And then this one I did not know about, the fact that the governor mentioned Heisenberg as one of the people that they've lost.
See, I don't remember hearing that one either. And one that you said that you didn't remember either was the teddy bear, because the first walker that Rick comes across and shoots is the little girl with the teddy bear. And then you remember when the plane goes overhead, and I guess does it crash,
Yeah.
or but the teddy bear comes floating down into the pool, and that teddy bear played an important part in Breaking Bad. So, I mean, that one right there was a huge tie-in.
That's very true. The blue meth, that's probably one of the biggest tie-ins. Whenever Daryl's going through Merle's, I can't speak. Whenever, oh, God, good God, people, what's going back up there?
The dog just got stepped on or
Yeah,
something.
he's not happy. Yeah, in season 2, whenever Daryl is going through Merle's drug stash, you can see the blue meth in that. So it's funny whenever Nick is cutting the drugs in this episode and they play that song. I almost felt like they should have played Crystal Blue Persuasion.
Yeah, it's funny though, because the way Alejandro's lab was
Hmm.
set up was very, very clean, the way
Yes,
that Walt always liked it. So, I think there's a lot of tie-in. So
I think so.
that's a good one. I did not know that you could cut powdered milk into your Oxy and get a better high off of it. I don't have any
Uh,
Oxy, but I'm just saying, I didn't know.
and the more you know, as the NPC logo pops up. So
Exactly. All right, our number 2 moment. This was a big one when Nick was given his very own FEMA trailer so that he could go to the bone zone
yeah,
with Luciana.
I like how you say this is a big one.
This is a big one. Well, I'm assuming he.
One could dream for you. I know you've got a big crush on Nicholas. I like the moment whenever Alejandro gave him this trailer and everything. I could see the headlines, next week on Cribs in the zombie apocalypse, because he goes in there and I'm like, dang, this is a nice pad. Like this was really nice, especially in the zombie apocalypse and everything. Do you think he was buttering him up at that point? Like, yeah, I'm still not 100% sold on Alejandro and like exactly what he has going on. But he went a long way in this episode to win me over, to be like, okay, this dude's not gonna turn out to be some sadistic weirdo
Yeah,
creeper guy. Like, he just seems like a genuinely nice dude.
I think he is a nice guy. I think he has everyone's best interests at heart. I think he's just really confused on how he got bit. He thinks it was one of the infected. It was the dude, a person that bit him.
Yeah, no,
The drugged out kid.
I completely agree with that. I had that down as something to bring up. Have you ever heard of a drug called the Flocka drug?
I'm gonna have to keep coming this way.
Or bath salts. You've heard of
Oh
bath
yeah,
salts,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
That was
yeah.
the zombie apocalypse drug.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Flocka drug, I
Hmm.
think I'm pronouncing it right. Flocka or Flaka, I don't know. Just go on YouTube
Yeah.
and just type in FLAKA, and
Okay.
you will be amazed. Because
F.
literally, this is
Okay.
the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. People are like doing like this in the street, and they're like going crazy. And then
Oh really?
you remember that moment in was it World War Z, the one with Brad Pitt, right? That's
Hmm.
based on the novel, the Max Brooks novel. The novel is freaking fantastic. The book's really, I mean, the movie's really good too. But that one crazy ass zombie that whenever Brad Pitt gets out of his car or something and he goes charging like right in to that dude's door or front of his windshield or
Oh,
something
see,
like that,
I don't remember that part.
that's what you do on the Flocka drug.
Okay. All
And
right.
I think that you're right. I think that that's what ultimately happened. That it was this person was on the similar to this Flocka
Hmm.
drug, which is a synthetic drug where it makes you look like you're a zombie and everything. And yeah, I don't think he was bit by somebody that was infected. I think he was literally bit by just a regular
Yes.
everyday human, and that it
And
wasn't
yeah,
infected.
in the mass confusion, maybe because I know there were infected around.
Hmm.
Maybe the kid that bit him was bitten by an infected afterwards and ended up dying.
Yeah,
But at the time, I mean, come on.
yeah.
It If we had people that were immune, we never would have got to The Walking Dead.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm 100% with you. I like Alejandro now. I still think his story is bullshit. He just doesn't know it.
He doesn't know it exactly.
Yes. So our number one moment from this week's episode is Madison is the Pied Piper. Yes, and not the Pied Piper that's on Silicon Valley, the Pied Piper from the old story that you were read when you were a kid that turned out to be actually a really creepy ass story. So
Yeah.
yeah, just go if you don't know that, go look into it, do some research. Pied Piper story is creepy as fuck. So but yeah, it was a really cool moment whenever we get to see this pretty large, sizable herd of walkers as they're corralled straight off the pier. It was a pretty cool moment, but I will have to say it led to one of the most annoying head meat desk moments of this episode. There were two of them that I had in this episode.
Okay. Well, for
That was
me,
one. What do you
one
want?
was just the idea that didn't we decide that 2010 is when this went down?
Yes, yes.
They walkers were much slower then because I mean
Were
she's
they?
walking backwards
Yeah.
and with this really slow pace and they're just kind of
Walking like
not
that? What
yeah well
is she
she's
like
beating
roping him or
no, she
something?
was beating that thing.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Smart ass.
she's dancing, she's just walking back, yeah, breaking
So they
it
were just
down.
they were really slow. Okay, but what was
What
your
was my head meat desk moment?
hmm hmm
The fact that Alicia pulls out her freaking iPhone that was
and it's
certainly not around in 2010. That's a small detail that I can forgive. But she breaks out her iPhone and then proceeds to like, oh, I'm gonna get on iTunes. I heard that that new Kanye song it just
yeah,
dropped. I don't. I'm gonna go check that out. And
it's
she
fully
plays it. Yeah.
charged. I'm like, I was so confused when I watched that. Because I'm looking around. There's no one for me to talk to, but I'm looking for somebody to talk to. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah, what
How
is
is
she
this
doing?
happening?
Yeah, it made absolutely no sense. One, it didn't make sense in the
It didn't
context of
help.
it's a yeah, the fact that it's a phone and yeah, with the battery, whatever. But yeah,
Hmm.
the fact that I didn't even hear the music come out of it. Like,
Right.
yeah, oh man, that was the moment where I just was like, like I just wanted to beat my head right here on this desk in front of me. Other than that, it was honestly it was a very cool moment.
Yeah.
It definitely reminded me of the whole Corey situation from The Walking Dead season 6 opener, but it wasn't like in a negative way that it
Right.
reminded me of that.
I do have I argue against the whole, the riptide is a
Yeah,
scary thing.
yeah,
But throw all those walkers out there that are still alive.
yeah, exactly.
They, you're just setting yourself up to be screwed later when your defenses are down. So I
Yeah.
thought that was just stupid. I did like that was a practical stunt.
They say that on Talking Dead or something.
Hmm.
Oh,
That 40 feet Those
Wow.
people, yeah, and the stuntmen were talking about the fact that normally, as a stunt person, you go hands first
Yeah.
into that far of a jump, or you go feet first. Well, they told these walkers to do the zombie walk off, and so a lot of
Oh my
them,
gosh.
yeah, were actually belly flopping
Yeah,
into
belly
that, and
flop first. Whew.
uh, yeah.
That's
Anyway,
painful. But now that I didn't know that, that's a really
hmm
cool little tidbit because to me, anytime you get practical effects, it adds so much more
hmm
to the actual scene and everything. It comes off better to me, and it's whenever you hear that, you're like, oh, that's actually a lot cooler than just like a green screen and they're just falling off. It's computer generated and everything. Overall, it was a really cool scene. Minus
yeah,
the
yeah.
head meet desk moments, it was really cool. So overall, what do you give this episode of Fear the Walking Dead? How many
Okay,
bacons?
I had to really, really think about this seriously, and it's all scratched out back and
Yeah.
forth because it did feel like you and I talked about this before we started recording that it felt like there was a lot of filler, but there was a lot of really interesting moments.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm giving it 4 bacons.
I think that this episode is going to be divisive in the sense that you're going to have you that likes the episode a lot more than somebody like me. Like I just did
So
not.
you're not giving it 4 bacons.
I am not giving this episode 4 bacons. Yes, this episode did have quite a bit of filler in my opinion. One being the fact that we opened with Strand and Madison. I talked about this in our predictions video that I was like, this is not a flashback that I really want to see. Which they didn't make it into what would be a typical flashback like scene. They just made it, this is just from this perspective, which I totally understand. But it didn't lead anywhere. Thing that they really pissed me off with is they employed the freaking Walker blood thing one more time. I mean,
I know.
literally, I wrote in my notes, and I apologize beforehand. I said, "Oh yeah, let's just use the blood on face technique one more goddamn time
I know.
because
I know. I am
it's
so
killing
sick of
me."
it. When Nick and Lucy are out
Mm,
traveling again. I
yep.
mean, they've got a little right here
Yeah.
and a little right here. What is the deal?
It is starting to annoy me to no
Mm,
end. It's just like it completely cuts any of the tension out of what could have been a very
yes,
tension-filled scene. The fact that we see Madison and Strand, yes, I did not want to see it, but they could have done something really cool with this scene. I said on Twitter, I feel like they completely missed the boat. They should have used Molotov cocktails. You're in the bar.
exactly.
Oh,
Come on.
that would have been so awesome.
Yeah,
Like think of whenever we're playing The Last of Us and you get the Molotov cocktails and
those are
how
my
cool they are.
favorites.
Yeah, they're the
Mm-hmm.
best. They're the best
Mm-hmm.
with zombies because then you get the
They
epic
they're
flaming
yes,
zombie.
they just keep walking, but they're on fire and they
Yeah.
catch the other ones on fire.
Oh,
So, yeah.
just totally epic fail on that part. And Ophelia is basically becoming the Sophia of Fear the Walking
Ah,
Dead, which I also find not necessarily annoying, but it's just like I don't know what to do with that storyline. I have heard that some people have thrown out the rumor or theory that maybe Ophelia has left and she's gone back to find Daniel to see if he's actually dead.
ah, okay.
I think that could be cool. So
Yeah.
maybe if that's what they do with Ophelia, that's cool. But yeah, I do feel like she's like the new Sophia and everything. It's just weird. But my bacon score, by the way,
Oh, yes. What do you? We
is
know it's lower than 4.
it's lower than 4, not a whole lot lower than 4. It's 3. I gave it 3 out of 5 bacons because, like you said, yes, there was some filler. There was probably some scenes that they could have condensed into instead of having a 15 episode season. I still think that they should only do 10 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, and they'll be like really tight, concise,
Hmm
compact episodes. Some of the things just didn't work for me, but there were some really good stuff still in this episode. So that's why 3, not like a 2 or anything crazy like
Okay.
that. So.
I feel like 3 is really pretty crazy too, but
All right. Well, let us know in the comment box down below. What did you think of this episode of Fear the Walking Dead? Am I crazy? Is it a 4 bacon episode? Is it
I
a
think it
five
is.
bacon episode?
I, it's at least a solid 4. I really think it is.
All right. Well, let us know all your thoughts in the comment box down below. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to go check out our podcast, The Ranting Dead. and you can get our full-on discussion and recap of Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 11, Pablo and Jessica. All those comments, we will include those in that podcast as a part of the listener feedback. Thanks again.